KRAIG Kann is someone you might recognize from television, especially if you're addicted to golf. He spent 18 of his 25-year television career as an on-air studio personality at Golf Channel. He then pivoted to sports business, accepting the role of Chief Communications Officer and lead spokesperson for the LPGA, where he served for 5 years and was an influencer on many industry committees, including the Communications Committee for the 2016 Rio Olympics. Now KRAIG leads Kann Advisory Group, which he founded in 2016, consulting and conducting leadership, communication, and branding workshops and seminars for corporations and athletic organizations. He is a sought-after presentation skills, public speaking coach, and media trainer, and travels as a keynote and featured speaker himself. In addition, he is also a member of the Forbes Communications Council and a regular host on Sirius XM Radio. His website is kannadvisory.com, and in short, he knows how to build and present brands.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Some of you are very, very scared because you're sitting all the way in the back. This happens every time. Everybody's nervous. They don't want to sit up here because they're afraid I'm going to call on them, and I just might. We're going to have some fun over the next 50 minutes or so. I want to start by saying I'm probably the only speaker you're going to see that says, I want you to use your phones. I don't want you to sit on them. I don't want you to turn them off. You'll see a couple of hashtags up there on the screen. Number one, we know about CoSIDA 18. We got to put that on every tweet. I actually want you to tweet some of the things that come out today. I want you to think about the aha moments that resonate with you, things that make you feel powerful and empowered to walk out of this room feeling differently about yourselves. Now, the topic today that I want to talk about is a brand new you. When I get done today, my goal is very simple. I hope that you'll walk out of this room feeling differently about yourself than when you came in. I hope I get your head spinning. I hope I get you to go take notes and think about things you might not have thought about. Each and every one of you is a professional. Each and every one of you is special, and we're going to find out your own personal why. I want to raise your game of influence. I want to help take you to the next level, and you, in turn, take your organization, your school, everybody around you to the next level as well. You've got to continue to push yourself, and I'm going to talk about this throughout this talk, and I'll come back to this as well. Everybody wants to be better. Everybody wants to make a difference. Can you do that for yourself? Can you push yourself to the next level? You show up at a conference like this. Do you come here to just take notes? Or do you come here to gain something, to go back, to get everybody else talking? How important is this to you? How important is it for you to push yourself to your highest professional and personal summit? Because if you don't do that and you want to be a leader, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to follow along. That's just not how it works. People follow people who push. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard this story or not, but once upon a time in the Northeast, there was a gentleman who was jogging in his subdivision. A lot of rolling hills, gated community. And in that subdivision in the Northeast, in October, all the trees with green leaves. All of the walls with green ivy. Green leaves. Think Wrigley Field. He's jogging. It's a blustery day. Up and down the hills, listening to music as he goes, and the wind's blowing. As he goes through his jog at about the half-mile point, all of a sudden, he stops. Because what lands in front of him is one vibrant red leaf. One vibrant red leaf, signifying, of course, the change in seasons, right? It's the fall, and those green leaves are all going to change. But one lands in front of him, and it stands out amidst everything else. The green ivy on the walls, the green leaves on the trees. So yes, it signifies a change in seasons, but it's something much bigger. I want you to adopt the mindset of how you can stand out. Before I walked up here, and as I was walking up, you sized me up. I didn't have much time. I had to get you going. I had to gauge your interest. Rob did the same thing. That's what our challenge is. And it's not just in public speaking. It's in everything. 8 seconds is the amount of time it takes to read a tweet, post on Facebook, drive in your car, listen to a show on Sirius XM, decide you're going to listen or move on. Same thing with TV channels. 8 seconds. That's not a lot of time. So we live in a world of short attention spans. We live in a world of quick impressions. How do you get it done? Now, I'm a big body language guy, and I can tell you immediately, I can sense who is comfortable with being uncomfortable. Hashtag elevate CoSIDA, hashtag CoSIDA 18. I hope you will remember today, when you walk out of here, that nothing great comes from within a comfort zone. Our greatest achievements all come because we were uncomfortable, because somebody told us we couldn't do it. We were not going to get there. That's your challenge. I spent time yesterday listening to some very powerful athletic directors and some very influential people. What do you do? And what do you do with it? You all have achieved some great success in some area. Put it out there. Share it with other people. Inspire, engage, empower, promote. That's what we have to do in communications. That is what your school needs from you if you want to make your name for yourself. Ask yourself some questions. Are you magnetic? Are you a conversation starter? Do you get people talking? Because that's what influencers do. They create conversation. They create word of mouth. Are you a difference maker? Are you working to make a paycheck? Or are you working to make a difference? That's the challenge, folks. That's the challenge every day. So is your personal brand taking off? And is the brand that you work with, the university, the college that you support, that you invest sweat, equity every day and put in the time and pump out the press conference releases and the transcripts and all the things that you do, is it building your brand? Because you matter, folks. You matter. You need to worry about your brand. You need to pay attention. You need to get people talking. You need to do something special. Now, if you want to be a brand influencing superhero, which should be the goal for everybody, just know that that cape is not handed to you. Leaders don't just get that designation and get people to do things. That's not how it works. We've actually got to be special and unique. And superheroes who do what you do have presence. They get up here and they know what they're talking about. They go into a room and they know what they're talking about. They get people to pay attention. They also have a clear message, concise, and they get people moving. They have effective delivery, a unique style, and they know how to connect and get people to believe them. But there's something missing on this sheet as well, and that is they own communication. Communication, folks, is the link between ideas and action. We don't just push messages out there. We need to get people talking. We need to get people doing something. We need to get people to carry that message forward. It's the most valuable skill that anybody can have. So look within yourselves, because influential communication leaders, as you should be, want to be, care to be, and work to be, are relationship builders. Influential communication leaders are ambassadors always. Folks, don't tell me you're an employee for the school. Tell me you're an ambassador for the brand. Wave the flag. Go out and say something that actually says something. Don't just talk. People don't have time. Ask yourself, when I get into a room, am I actually saying something? They're owners of a sharp message. They're powerful presenters. They understand the importance of real estate. They understand the importance of this being their opportunity to stand out when they stand up. You got to find a way to be different or better than everybody else. Everybody in here is in competition. How do you stand out? Ask yourself that question, figure out a way to do it as soon as possible, and walk your own walk. If you want to build your platform, not just the CoSIDA brand, but your own personal brand, you've all got these little building blocks of your career. You've all got your experiences and the things that made you successful and got you into the opportunity that you're at right now. But you've got to find a way to carve your own personal niche, and you, in your school, have to find a way to carve a niche to get noticed in your media market. Now, here are some 3 things that I can help you with on how you can influence your own personal brand, yours individually and that of your school. Number 1, you can become a better speaker. It's important, folks. Warren Buffett says there's one skill that can raise your personal value and make you more money by 50%. And that's the art of communication and public speaking. Become better. Give yourself the opportunity. Don't fear or have anxiety. Let that anxiety tell you it means something. There's a purpose and there's something to be gained. Have a social media presence. Put yourself out there. If you haven't tweeted since February, don't tell me you're on Twitter. You're a lurker. But when you put something out there, have something to say, provide value, that's where your followers come from. You can empower your teammates. That will get people talking for you. Now, how do you differentiate from everybody else? How do you become the green shoes? How do you become the red leaf? How do you get people to pay attention to you and say, this guy, this woman, she is my superhero in communications? Well, that's you. That's your own personal expertise. That's your own personal experiences. That's your own personal message, your own personal story. Who are you? Why should we pay attention? What's your why? You got to have that. And you have to have your own personal style. What do people say about you? Folks, your brand is not what happens in this room. It's not what happens in the room at your next meeting. It's what happens when you walk out of that meeting. Because we live in a world of word-of-mouth marketing. We live in a world of you will say something about me when we're done. Hey, Rob had this guy, actually pretty good. I saw some publicity. I actually enjoyed the message. Or, there was a lot of hype about this guy. And actually, he wasn't all that engaging. I didn't get a whole lot out of it. I took no notes. When's our next meeting? Let's go upstairs and see where the escalator takes us. You're going to say something. They're going to say something about you. So you might as well be somebody that has something to say, that's an industry thought leader that gets people talking. You folks, I said you're an entrepreneur if you choose to be, but you are the chief marketing officer of your own brand, always. Why? Because nobody else is going to spend the time doing it for you. You got to push it out. You got to get people talking. You got to get people to pay attention. It doesn't just happen. It takes work. It takes thought. It takes communication. And it takes connection with an audience. Don't follow the curve, everybody. Don't do it. It's not worth your time. Following the curve is status quo. Following the curve is what everybody else does. It's not the way to go about it. There are a lot of companies that follow the curve. There are a lot of companies in this world that actually say status quo is great. And a lot of those companies are no longer here. They've been replaced and their people have been laid off. You've got to set your own curve. You've got to be an innovator. You've got to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be an ideas factory. You've got to be an influencer. That's what you got to be. And lastly, you've got to become a storyteller. You got to do it. I coach it every day. What's your story? How can you get people to pay attention to it? Dig deep. Figure out who you are at your core. Don't tell me you're a people person. Don't tell me you give 110%. That's ordinary, folks. We're focusing on extraordinary. We got to get people to go do something, say something that's special. So I go back to the question that I asked this gentleman when he came up on stage. Who are you? Who are you? And why should we care? I want to see you go to the next level. So I hope you'll hop on board and do that. I leave you with this. Each and every one of you has this golden opportunity. Whether you minimize it or not is your own issue. You need to maximize it in your own head. You need to think bigger about yourself. You can't just wish for your school to get to the next level. You can't wish for the organization of CoSIDA to get where it needs to go to truly make a difference in the landscape of all these organizations trying to have a voice. You can't wish to be better. You can't wish to be a better presenter. You can't wish to get noticed. Folks, you got to want it. You got to do something creative. You got to do something special. You got to get people talking, but you have to be a connector. And the only way to get that done, is to find a way to be the green shoes amidst the white and find a way to be the red leaf. I'm challenging you right now to push yourself, to elevate you. And in the process, if you elevate your brand, you will take the brand of your school, your university, and all those around you. By being the greatest ambassador, a change agent, you'll get everybody to go to the next level. And you'll surprise yourself, just like we were able to do in my tenure at the job I had of getting people to pay attention. Do it. Be special. Be an influencer. Elevate yourselves and walk out of this room today feeling bigger about yourself than you did when you walked in, because you hold the cards, you hold the key to success, and you are the person right there that has a chance to have other people follow. But if you don't elevate, nobody's following you.